Progressives, this is your trigger warning.
Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. From Newsmax.com, a site that would be going on more and more and pushing away from Fox a little bit, even though I'm not going to desert Fox. Newsmax.com seems to have a lot better written articles. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they do better than Fox, at least lately. McLaughlin poll. Trump beats Biden in electoral landslide. That's a great thing. And those Trump supporters like myself and those out there and those on the fence not sure what to do, I'm going to be showing some Agenda 47 videos that President Trump put out on certain topics. Maybe it'll help you make up your mind one way or the other. But this is great news. Great news. And bad news for Democrats. And you have to remember something. I ran in local elections here in upstate New York in the early 2000s. I was a city councilman. And it was in an off year. So we didn't get the down ballot vote. In other words, during a presidential year, you have sometimes governor, U.S. senator, Congress members, local mayors, county executives, all the way down the line. And when you vote on the top of the ticket for a certain party, that carries down to the ballot, to the races below it. So you get that carryover. And that was the thing that was a little perplexing in 2020. Millions of people, the votes that were counted, show they only voted for president and nothing else. And I can't go into more detail because this is the website that it is, and it will bar this video. What I'm scared about, what I'm afraid of, as the numbers go more and more and slowly over time. It's a good thing that it does slowly and doesn't jump. That way they're more permanent. The numbers slowly go over to Trump's favor. The Democrats are backed into a corner, and like a wounded animal, they're lashing out. And we know this from what they do to people legally, otherwise, plus all the indictments and multiple indictments on President Trump. They're going to lash out when they see they're in more danger than they already are. I have no doubt that the Democrats have some internal polls that are really frightening. And why they're pressing so hard is because they see that they're the dinosaurs and the asteroid is coming. Let's read on. After Georgia's indictment of Donald Trump, our new national poll shows he not only beats Biden, but he would defeat the current president electoral landslide. Now, it does not give the electoral numbers. The McLaughlin National Survey finds Trump leads Biden 47% to 43%, up 2 points this month alone. For whatever it's worth, department, historically, when the Democrats are up in a congressional year, even the midterm elections, if they're up by 5%, nationwide, not individual, but nationwide. If they're up by only 5%, Republicans take control of the House of Representatives. It's the way the demographics work. They need to be up by more than 5% to even have a chance. This is similar. It's up 2 points this month alone for Trump. And this is without Professor, what's his name, West, Cornel West, running on a third party, Green Party. And I forget what is the name of the no party or no name party or something like that. This could get dicey. This could get like in the 1800s when you had 4 or 5 people running. Abraham Lincoln barely got 40% of the popular vote, believe it or not. Even more remarkable with our voter model for this poll, we signed 4 more points of Biden 2020 voters than Trump 2020 voters. This means looking into 2024, there's an 8-point turnaround in favor of Trump from the 2020 election. Biden voters are switching to Trump. They're not in great numbers, but you only need a small amount in certain areas, i.e. the swing states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, even Virginia, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan. Those are the ones that you need, and that's the inside straight that Trump pulled in 2016. But here's the really big news. In key battleground states, which I just mentioned, Trump leads Biden 49 to 41. If it was tied, say 50-50. That would be huge for Trump. But he leads by 8 points. And I have no doubt Democrats have internal polls that show the accuracy, and they are scared to death, and they should be. If the election was held today, Trump would defeat Biden in an electoral landslide. Our poll and other new surveys are confirming a huge turnaround for Trump. Remember, Donald Trump never won the popular vote in 2016 and 2020 national popular vote, and almost all polls have him losing the popular vote in both elections. But now our poll and others are showing him leading. That's remarkable. Remarkable. We believe this is the reason Joe Biden is desperate to keep Trump off the ballot, and if he can, put him in jail. Now they're trying a lawsuit in Florida to bar him from running for president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment due to insurrection and going against the United States and aiding and abetting its enemies, which is total horse. Trump appears to be the only Republican kid who can solidly defeat Joe Biden, and they know that. I'm old enough to remember the Watergate days. What Watergate was really all about, besides screwing over Democratic candidates, they used to call it rat effing back in the old days. The Republicans, through the intelligence services, the CIA, the FBI, just like it's going on now, were destroying Democratic candidates. Why? Because the Republican National Committee, or I should say more precisely, the Committee to Reelect the President, CREEP, weird name for it, but it applies, wanted to pick and choose, handpick their opponent for the Democrat. That's exactly what happened, and they destroyed everybody else and let George McGovern in. They picked a Democratic candidate, and they won easily in 72. There are two fundamental trends which are evident in our most recent national polls that are projecting Donald Trump towards victory in 2024. Our recent national poll was completed after the announcement of the Fulton County indictment of President Trump and right before the Republican debate. It's important that it's after the indictment in Georgia. This national poll of 1,000 likely voters with a minus or plus 3.1% margin at the 95% confidence interval was completed between August 15th and August 23rd. Despite the indictments, Donald Trump remains the overwhelming frontrunner of the Republican Party. First, Donald Trump is smartly running a campaign that is focused on defeating Joe Biden, whom he branded as the single worst president in American history. That might be true, but he's definitely in the top 5. Public opinion agrees with President Trump. Joe Biden's approval remains decisively negative. Approval 43, disapprove 55. And 72% of undecided voters disapprove of the job that Biden is doing. Most of the undecided vote is the hidden vote for Trump. I sure as hell hope so. Under Biden, 67% of all voters believe the country is on the wrong track. Only 25% say it's on the right track. And 83% of undecided presidential voters say it's on the wrong track. If Trump was running for the first time, he would be 15 points ahead if he had not run in 2016 and won. I said this before, and I'll say it again. In 2020, the Democrats should not have pushed Trump so hard and pushed all the rule changes and laws that were done all over the country for voting. They should have let Trump win. They should have let him win. They probably would have kept the House of Representatives. A solid majority of 64% of the voters say the economy is getting worse, and only 32% say it's getting better. A large 83% of voters say that they have been negatively affected by inflation, among whom 45% are struggling to keep up and afford basic necessities. But here's the catch to that. A lot of people that I talk to, and I had a store in a low-income area for over 20 years, my convenience store, people don't get the connection between the inflation and the Biden administration and what they're doing in Democrats. A lot of people don't have that connect. They have to be told what the truth is. Only 37% of voters are favorable to Vice President Kamala Harris. 54% are unfavorable. You get 35% of the vote when you're running for office, even if you're dead. The worst you can do is 33, 34, 35%. She's got 37% favorable. Dead people have that amount. It's amazing. Bidenomics is a poor brand name with only 20% of the voters being favorable and 46% unfavorable. Maybe it's too like Biden inflation. Seems like Bud Light would be a more popular brand these days. That's funny. How about Bid Light? A solid 49% say it's been bad for the economy. Trump is winning on the issues that matter most. And let's tell the truth here. Economics and how it affects your wallet and your daily life. Social issues like Medicare, Social Security, healthcare, climate, and education matter most to only 27% of the voters, and they vote Biden 60 to 31%. Well, of course. Security issues like the border, crime, and national defense that matter to 14% of people prefer Trump over Biden 55 to 37. And you can go through the list here. With Trump beating Biden, Republicans lead in the generic congressional ballots 48% to 42. Remember what I said. If a nationwide poll shows Democrats up 5% in a congressional generic poll, Republicans take the House. That 5% plus the 6 is 11-point swing, which is huge. We're looking at, if this holds, the Republicans picking up 10, 15, 20 more seats in the Congress. That would be astounding, maybe even more depending how things fall. The race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is no longer close. Trump is clearly leading. It's still early, but Trump has pulled off a stunning turnaround since the 2020 election, and he has. He has. The only thing I wish he wouldn't pound on so much, mention on occasion, but the things he thinks that happened during the 2020 election. Whether he's right or not is immaterial at this point. With the votes of the mainstream media being in the pocket of the progressive Democrats and all of the DOJ and intelligence services being run by people that want the Democrats to win. Be careful. Be careful. One thing I learned about being a councilman is being right isn't enough. Just tone down that portion of it. Go on issues. And I'll tell you go on Twitter under Donald Trump or against DonaldJTrump.com, where he has Agenda 47 items, where he lists agenda items and what he would do. And they're very reasonable, extremely reasonable. Bringing back manufacturing. He said 95% of ibuprofen is made in China. Penicillin, like 80% is made in China. This is dangerous. This isn't just about American jobs, which we would get a ton of. They're all made here. It's a national security issue. They cut us off of things. Tens of thousands of people will die, and hundreds of thousands will suffer needlessly. We put all the cards in China's hands. It's foolishness. Food, pharmaceuticals, the works. Now, the big pharma people are going to complain because they're making more money, of course. It's cheaper to manufacture in China. Yes, some prices will go up initially as manufacturing starts to come back here. But as we always done in the United States, we mass produce things, the prices come dramatically down over time. That will happen again. Trump is doing the right things and saying the right things. The Democrats are pushing him hard to put him in jail or to make him ineligible to run in 2024. They really don't want to put him in jail. They want to make sure he can't run again. They have internal polls that are probably showing worse numbers than this. They have to push harder. That's my fear. Do I fear for his personal safety? Yeah, more than I did when he was president. I think the chances of something happening to him are less than 5%, but they're not zero. And as things get closer and closer, God only knows what nut bars are going to come out of the woodwork. But I have faith in the Secret Service. They're very good at protecting presidents. We're going to have to see. What is the Democrats' next move? Indict him again in another location? Now they're putting a trial to start the day before Super Tuesday. They are pulling out all the stops and they're not hiding it anymore. People that are undecided on who to vote for, take note. The Democrats are not talking about supposedly the things they say they did that helped the country at all. All they're trying to do is slander and destroy Trump and put him in jail and make him ineligible to run for president in 2024. It's not their agenda that they're pushing. They're pushing for Donald Trump to be excommunicated from politics forever. Think about that. Why aren't they talking about their own agenda? Because nothing they've done has worked. Everything they touched has turned to crap. Think about that and put your dislike and or hatred to Donald Trump on the side and think clearly. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.